90% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a business. What do people see when they look you up online? We give you the tools you need to take control of your reputation. Send surveys to your customers via text message with Testimonial Collector. Get 5-star reviews on all the major platforms like Google, Yelp, and more. Track what people are saying about your business with Reputation Manager. Respond to comments and turn negative reviews into happy customers. See what your competitors' customers are saying about them with Competition Tracker. Learn great marketing tactics and what it takes to stay on top. A bigger social presence means more connections. Automatically generate and schedule engaging social media posts with Social 365. Build trust, boost sales, and grow your business.
And you are tuning into another day in the life of an entrepreneur. You are listening to the Entrepreneur Life Show. So if you are watching on one of your very favorite social app, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, whatever that is, LinkedIn, thanks for watching live. If you want to jump in on the chat and maybe have a question for a guest or myself, make sure you jump on over on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Jump in on the super chat so we can see your comments and your high fives and all that great stuff, and you can share. And if you are listening on your very favorite social podcast app, thank you so much. You know, I always have to say this because I cannot believe how the show has grown, and we have made some great strides and achievements, and we've only been active for a year and a half, a year and 6 months, actually, almost 7 months, and we are at 5,000 downloads, so that's averaging about 250, 270 a month. That means you like my guests, and it is all attributed to the publicists, the PR agents that are sending me great influential people that you want to see and listen to, because you guys are downloading the shows. So that's awesome. Okay, so let's get the housekeeping out of the way. I want to make sure that I always give a high five to Marketing Out the Box, my sponsor to grow your business, beat the competition. You want to check them out at iwantmorecustomersnow.com with Sean Maddox. He has been my day one. And then, of course, our new sponsor, Spin Wax Radio, where they are going to be debuting. So for worldwide exposure, always looking for new talent in many different genres, check out spinwaxradio.com, as well as the Black Unicorn Factory, where they will also be launching. And you can make sure that it's called Follow Me for Equity, a new way to earn money by following people on social media, following some amazing businesses. So you want to check them out, and to visit my sponsor's website and to learn more, go to the entrepreneurlifeshow.com. You will also see all of the past guests I've had on for interviews, all the upcoming guests, and everywhere that you can find them. So what is happening today? So, of course, I have another awesome guest. And, I love women moguls. You know what I'm saying? Because, of course, I'm a woman. Of course, I'm probably a little prejudiced that. But I love to see when women are doing it in the industry. And so, why today's guest is so amazing, lovely, important that you need to hear. So even if you are not a woman, let me tell you, I know you got a wife, a sister, brother, daughter, somebody female that you know why Julia Loggins is definitely revolutionizing beauty and wellness and doing it differently, kind of changing the game. I mean, she has products, a book. She has lived the life to tell the story. So many people, they're doing different things and they have a book, which is really great, or maybe they have some small product line, but she has a whole thing, courses, like everything. Okay, so we are going to bring onto the show. We're going to get to what she's doing, what she has for you. She's going to tell her story. Let's pop her on. Welcome to the show, Miss Julie. Hello. Hi.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, it is lovely having you. And let me tell you something. I did, I when I received your information, and you have so much going on, I was so enthused because you live the life that you share the story. And so, and let me tell you, it's a different type of experience that you have had. So it is going to be so great for you to share it. And I first wanted, of course, obviously just being inspired by what you're doing. Um, if you don't mind just sharing a little about how you ended up really into the journey of wanting to help women in wellness and as beauty and health, and how we feel about ourselves, just about yourself. What was your
Yeah,
experience?
absolutely. I always say that my best credential for doing this is saving my own life. I
Mhm.
spent most of my childhood and teens hospitalized. I was, to make it a short statement, allergic to the 21st century. I was born with a weakened immune system due to environmental factors and stress. And I had life-threatening illnesses. I had asthma, allergies, rheumatoid arthritis, bleeding ulcers. Doctors told my parents I would not live beyond 17. So when I was in my 16th year, they found a doctor, a medical doctor, who had been influenced by the teachings of Paul and Patricia Bragg. And they, of course, taught natural lifestyle, natural wellness, organic food. And he gave my parents a prescription, which is that I needed to be on an all organic diet. And we needed to get rid of the medications, which I was on so many.
Mhm.
I mean, I was on constant medications. I'd been on steroids all of my life, all other kinds of medications, experimental medications. And my parents said, we can't take her off the drugs. They're saving her life. And he said, they're killing her. They're destroying her organs, and we've got to get her off the medications. That was the beginning of my healing journey. It took me years to heal my body, and that study, that process, and I completely healed. I completely regenerated my organs. I have two gorgeous children that doctors told me I would never have. And as I was healing my body and I was living at Hippocrates Health Institute, I was working with Dr. Ann Wigmore, the founder of Wheatgrass and Raw Food Vegan Lifestyle in America. I was working with people who we were working with people who had life-threatening illnesses. Hippocrates at the time, was really the only alternative health center for catastrophic disease and illness in America. This is in the 70s and 80s. And everybody who came, so many people had what I had suffered from and been told I would not survive. And as I stood in front of them and said, you can do it. If I did it, it can be done. If I did it, anyone can do it. And that led to my opening my private practice of almost 38 years and working with people in the trenches. And then everything else that came from that. That is my passion. That is my life's work.
Well, I know when I looked at your website and a little by research that you have these courses that I thought were I love these names. They're so interesting.
Thank you.
So there's the Happy Makeover, Mastering Menopause, and
Yes.
of course Digestive Health. And
Yes.
so if you don't mind, I wanted if you can talk a little bit about those, because that the Happy Makeover, it's so
The Happy Gut
I
Makeover.
love these. And whoever says like mastering menopause, it's like menopause is a death for women.
Right.
And so it's like you just don't get through menopause. You just, that's your mentality. How women think is like, oh God, it's like when people hear menopause, no matter what you are, they just think it's the worst thing ever. But you've kind of turned around people's thoughts of, beauty and what internally and their internal health and outside beauty. Just kind of change the game and how your perception of it, how we should perceive it.
Thank you. That is my whole goal. I mean, I'm a happy person, and I learned from a wonderful in a wonderful marketing course from a fabulous woman that you would love named Marsh Engel. And I was doing a presentation. This is before my second book, It Takes Guts to Be Happy. And I was telling her what I do with my clients. And she said, I can't believe that listening to you, you make all of this getting healthy and cleansing and detox sound so fun. Like we're going to Disneyland. And you make it simple and you make it feel like something people want to do. And I realized that's my brand. That is my brand, which is that I believe that we are here to live in joy, to live our purpose, and to do what we're here to do. But the problem is we cannot do that if we are in chronic pain, if we're dealing with, crazy hormonal imbalances, if we're dealing with stress that we don't know how to handle, if we don't know how to eat to serve our body. So it gets in the way of us being joyful and also doing what we're here to do. So we're dealing with our body. So the Happy Gut Makeover, I designed after I wrote my second book, It Takes Guts to Be Happy. And that was a 21-day plan that people could walk through. And it was as if they had me, as if they were in my clinic and I was walking through my 21-day cleansing program with them. And I realized now I had all these clients all over the country and they weren't always going to get to come into my clinic. How could I reach them? Online courses. So with the Happy Gut Cleanse, the course is 29 video modules, but we also meet live, just like we are here, once a week. So all of us come together and they actually get to have me live to ask their questions, to share their journey. And then they have the video modules to work through in between. And the menopause makeover, I'm 66. So what I learned in going through menopause, and of course, even when I was younger, working with women who'd gone through menopause. In fact, it started there. When I was young, I opened my practice. I was 28, and I saw women suffering through menopause, struggling and suffering. And in those days, there were very few options. There were not bioidentical hormones. It was like either Premarin, which is made from horse's urine, or Grin and Barrett. And Premarin is also causes cancer. So herbal formulas work for some women, not all. And I remember as Suzanne Somers' book hit the world stage, and seeing bioidentical hormones and all kinds of options come into the world for women, and the understandings of why we are struggling with menopause in a different way than our parents, our mother, our grandmother, and our great-grandmother did, which has a lot to do with environmental factors and cleansing and detox. I said to myself, I'm not going to suffer. I don't want my clients to suffer. Now we have tools. And in the menopause makeover, I share those tools. I share my network of doctors. I share all of my options, and we meet. Not only do we meet online through Zoom once a week, but they have the 29 video modules so they can, on their own time, really go through them. And also they can come back and jump into my program at any time for no extra cost. Because after all, this is not a linear journey, right? We go forward, stress hits us, life hits us. And then all of a sudden we kind of have taken a couple of steps back. People, women are welcome to jump back in the course that they originally signed up for. I am always welcome. I always welcome them. To me, that's part of doing what I do, is just being available. And now I can do that online.
It's funny that you had mentioned Suzanne Somers, because I follow her too. I watch her lives, but I noticed that you have with your gut health, because you have a lot of products.
I do.
And so I was looking, I was like, oh my gosh, yours are extensive, but your books to go along. No, I'm going to assume this. I don't know that because you have so many products and you've lived a life. What was it your book that thought, let me create the products alongside of that? And so people can learn and understand, or was it vice versa? Because you've got a lot of products.
I do. Honestly, the truth is my products came because I needed to be able to take something that my body could handle. I'm very sensitive. I work with people who are sensitive, and there's a lot of great products on the market, but they're often overly complicated. And our bodies are don't often digest them. I mean, I'm a colon therapist, and we know we can talk about that later. But when I have people come in for colonics, I often see whole pills coming through those tubes. So,
no, that's me. I'm talking about me. That's why I'm laughing.
If I had $1 for every pill that I saw go through that tube, you and I would be doing this online thing from my own private island, right? So I needed to design products that were so simple, so assimilable, and so digestible that a person as sensitive as me could use them. I was my own guinea pig for developing my products. I threw my savings into creating them because I needed exactly the elements that were necessary for people and for busy women to make their lives easy and simple. And let's face it, that's what we need, health to be easy and simple.
It's I'm glad you said that on the whole eye thing, because I am like, I get them. And I had to learn that, there was more to just, I was one of those people, let me back up to say, I thought that was going to do everything. Oh, I'll just go and get Clonix and that's going to fix everything. No, it didn't. But I would look in the tube and was just disgusted with myself. But can you share with us like the importance of detoxification? Because some people, I'm sure you see it like I see this on social media. Yes. Drink this, you're going to be detoxified. Hey, and there's so much stuff. And then you read up on it and I'm like, is that really detoxification, or are you just going to the bathroom?
Yeah. Right. That's a really good question. That's a really, really astute question from somebody who knows what they're talking about. And there are so many products on the market. And that's, people are inundated and confused. And I understand that. I was one of those people. And so I totally understand what it's like to be inundated and confused. And I wish detoxification and cleansing was as simple as just drink this and you're done. And if it was, hey, I would be the first person to say, let's do that. But what colonics and what cleansing really can do is that it can allow the colon, which is, as we know, can hold 5 to 20 pounds of waste. It can allow that to move so that the liver can release toxins. And that's the whole key to getting colonics, is to move things out of the way, because the body is so genius. The body does not release toxins unless there's a level of vitality for the energy system to handle that release. So one of the things we want to do is to raise the vitality, which also raises joy, mood, energy. After all, 99% of our serotonin is made in our gut. That's our happiness neurotransmitter. So our 80% of our immune system is in our gut. That's what makes us strong and able to withstand, being exposed to all the different things that are out there to be exposed to. So detoxification is a process, and it's something that we, when we live here on this gorgeous, beautiful, fragile, but unfortunately environmentally compromised planet, and we're exposed to we come in contact with over 2,500 chemicals a day. And it's just, and we're not going to live in a bubble, you and I and all the people that we're living, right? We're not living in a bubble. We're living our lives as best we can. But to do that, we need a program of detoxification. All of my books have one, and colonics is a part of it. Fasting is a part of it. Juices are a part of it. The Happy Gut Cleanse product that I created is a gentle, non-laxative formula that not only allows the colon to cleanse without gas or bloating or jogging to the bathroom when you are in the middle of a podcast, but it also allows the liver to detox. And that's really, really important. We also want to make sure, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
No, finish. No, go ahead.
I want to say to all those people out there who are familiar with liver detoxification, because that's very trendy these days, please get your colon cleansed before and after, because if you just do a liver cleanse without that, then you're just going to fill your body with toxins and they're going to recirculate, and you could end up feeling worse than before.
I was just going to ask you something relative to that about the different types of detoxing, because a lot of people, unfortunately, from that I'm seeing, and it's my uneducated self also, sometimes we're using these different drinks and cleansing stuff as a purpose of diet. And it not really is, it's like there's more to it. And it's like, I'll just take that and I'm going to lose 3 or 4 pounds. And
Yes.
especially if you haven't seen your doctor, and then you don't know how it could affect your liver, especially
That's
a
right.
lot of these teas. And there's these teas that are just being sold out and people are just drinking them up like crazy.
Yes.
So I thought maybe if you can give some education and share with our listeners about stuff like that.
Well, the thing about those teas, and I know those teas as well, because they certainly create action and they get things moving, and they can also create dehydration, among other things. But they generally include herbs like Cascara sagrada or senna, which are very irritating. And as we all know, what we are wanting to avoid more than anything is inflammation. Inflammation is not only the cause of disease, it's what makes us feel puffy. It makes us, when we look in the mirror and we want to just pop ourselves like with a pin because we're so puffy, that's inflammation. And those teas create more inflammation because they're so irritating to our colon. We always want to use products that are anti-inflammatory. And that's really important. And all my products are anti-inflammatory because the goal at the end of the day is to reduce inflammation. That's where health lives, is the reduction of inflammation.
So now me and yourself as a woman, I'm older myself.
Yes.
And I have children. It's unfortunate that after we as women have children, we seem to forget, and I think this is just society in itself,
yes,
that enormous damage and change that it does to us internally in our body. And then you're just supposed to, after you're done, okay, now I'm a mom, now I'm a wife, and everything that goes along with it. And then you forget about the changes that it takes in your body and how it affects you. And then it may not even sometimes affect you until where it catches up to years later.
Yes, you're so right.
If you can help and educate us women and just people on, when having a child, really how you should take care of yourself, some steps that you should be taking.
Absolutely. Well, number one, you're so right in that the moment we have a child, all of our focus goes on to that baby. Maybe when we were pregnant, we were really good about taking care of ourselves and eating well and all of that. All of a sudden we have a baby and our whole focus is that. I was certainly guilty of that. I don't know if I combed my hair for 6 months. I mean, I definitely was focused on my child. And that's really common for moms, especially these days when so many moms are working. So, they're 8-armed goddesses, I call moms. They're doing a million different things. And it's hard to remember to put our oxygen mask on first, to prioritize ourselves and to ask for help. Maybe that's one of the most important things I can encourage women to do. I have to encourage myself all the time, is to ask for help. And on a very basic level, to make sure that you're getting enough protein. And if you're noticing physical changes in your body, whether it's constipation, whether it's changes in your sense of yourself as a sexual being, there's something called pelvic floor therapy that I don't know if you've ever heard of, but pelvic floor therapy is done by licensed physical therapists, and it is to work with the vaginal area and allow it to basically to return to its whole and healthy state. And I think and the reason that I did pelvic floor therapy, by the way, is I had a client who had struggled with all kinds of issues, constant bladder infections, recurrent bladder infections, recurring infections of all kinds of bowel issues, and nothing seemed to really get it. And one day she came in and she said, I have to tell you, I've started to see a pelvic floor therapist. Like I said, this is done by license. It's a specialty of physical therapy. And I said, I need to go visit this person and check them out. I also had bladder infections throughout my life, especially when I was young from all those antibiotics. Wow. And when I experienced it, it doesn't hurt. It's an incredible technique that I learned that I was holding tension in muscles, probably left over from childbirth. And I'm also a sexual abuse survivor. So for all women who are sexual abuse survivors, we hold tension that we're not even consciously aware of in those areas. It affected my hips. It affected my back. And I've met women who, after doing pelvic floor therapy, experienced an orgasm if they'd never experienced one, because they were holding tension that they didn't even know about. And it's not the kind you can talk through in therapy. It's literally the muscles are held in a certain way. Childbirth, I believe if every woman could get pelvic floor therapy who would complete, after childbirth, we would all be a lot healthier. And these are the little things that we learn in podcasts like this, right? Just like I learned from my client, and I can share because it's becoming more and more known, and pelvic floor therapists exist in any big city. So all kinds of things that a woman can do. But to number one, please remember, prioritize yourself. That's the theme of my new book, Revolutionary Beauty, is women. It is time for us women to prioritize ourselves. If we don't, everybody around us will come apart because the world depends on us.
Let me tell you, I've never heard of some of the stuff you just said, especially that it's pelvic. How do you say that again?
Pelvic floor therapy. Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, as you get older, and then you're going in for your, what they call, I don't even know why they call it wellness check, but you go on what you call your wellness checks. And so, and I'm one, just like many of them, I would always come back with this basic UTI or something. I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, I changed my soap. I changed, the garments that I wear, and so, and even with non-sexual activity, but then it can, when you get to the age of about maybe in your 45s or 50s,
yes,
it's disregarded and said, well, you're hormonal right now, right? You're going, you're going through menopause. Oh, it's just menopause. And a lot of times people, they just put it off to menopause.
That's right.
Stress, all these, and it's like an easy way to get away with just saying we don't feel like doing something. It's too much research to do. It's probably menopause.
That's right. And another thing that I talk about a lot in Revolutionary Beauty are the solutions for these kinds of things, because we don't get to hear about them. And I interviewed two incredible medical doctors who specialize in these issues, and they shared these kinds of solutions that women just don't have the opportunity to hear. Solutions exist. So another message I'd love to give out to women today is, do not suffer. Do not suffer one more day. Solutions exist. And you can find them on this show. You can find them in my books. But don't suffer. And don't let anybody tell you that you have to live with this, that this is just how it's going to be, or it's just menopause. There's a solution for your suffering. So don't suffer. We women, we've been taught to just suffer, right? We've been taught to just put our head down and keep on going. But that doesn't serve us. It's time to shift that mentality. And I want to support women in doing that.
And I know we mentioned two, I think actually you have, is it 2 books or 3?
The first book I wrote was Unimaginable Life with my first husband, but my books about my workers, I've written 3. Dare to Detoxify, It Takes Guts to Be Happy, and launching in February, Revolutionary Beauty.
So I thought there was 3. So I want to talk about the Take Guts to Be Happy. I don't know why. It's like your description of things, like you said, it really changes just thinking of it, it's very exciting. So when you said it takes guts to be happy and dare to detoxify. So, what type of collaboration did you do? And I'm assuming that you can use the products within your books as well.
Exactly. I talk about them, and especially in Revolutionary Beauty, I really talk about in each module, in each section, how to incorporate the products so that people understand that, number one, sensitive people, which we all are sensitive people, and the older we get, the more sensitive we become, so that there is something simple out there for people that's not crazy expensive. I really wanted every solution in my book to be something that really any woman could afford, because I think that's also important to me, is to be as accessible as possible. But yes, my products and the courses, everything is designed to facilitate women and men as well being supported all the way through the process. I mean, I didn't really have anybody to walk me through, so I did a lot of experimentation. I was my guinea pig for lots of things, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And it's nice to have a guide who cheerleads you through a detoxification and a cleansing process on your way to your optimal health and wellness. And somebody who just keeps saying, you can do this and it can be done.
When was it that, when I was on your website, and I did notice that when I was just listening to how beautifully and well-spoken Kenny Loggins described you during your time of where you were kind of like in a transition of just, how you were feeling about yourself and
Yes.
beauty and health. And so it was so sincere, and I just had to keep listening to it.
Yeah.
It was almost like watching a story of your going through your time of your struggle. When was it you just made that transition and say, okay, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to figure it out for myself. What was it that made that change to say, I'm going to create my own product, write my own book. I'm going to fix myself, heal myself, figure how I'm going to do it?
I think it's a series of having said that to myself over and over again at different moments in my life. It was during my teen years when I realized nobody was going to do this except for me. It was during my healing process. And then, as I wrote in Revolutionary Beauty, I actually sort of thought I had figured it out. I thought that I had a practice by then. I was feeling pretty good about myself, I thought. And my body was definitely functioning as best as it ever had been. And when I met and married Kenny and was all of a sudden on the world stage, and I was married to a rock star, I discovered a level of insecurity that I didn't know I had. All of a sudden, every woman in the world, wants him. And I'm comparing myself. And as he said in the foreword, no matter what he would say to me about that I was beautiful and that he loved me, I could constantly feel this level of competition that I was conditioned to, I was just conditioned to struggle with. And I found inside myself another layer that I needed to confront. And as he wrote about in that foreword, where I was in that dressing room looking at myself and weeping and just thinking, oh my gosh, instead of, this, as he said, this dress doesn't really fit right. I was just thinking, how could he possibly really love me? And that was something that I wasn't aware was still living inside me. And during our relationship and during that our time together, I really was constantly confronted with finding peace and really owning my own strength and power. And I think that was a journey that continued as we separated and as I really grew into the person that, I've become. And I feel like all of those experiences, Spirit gave me so that I would have that information. I'd have those experiences to share, because it's all the same. It doesn't matter what relationship we're in, what job we're in. Those demons live inside us. And as I shared about from my time as a model, I spent time as a model when I was in my early 20s in my healing process. And I had never thought of myself as beautiful because I'd been struggling. I'd lost my hair and my eyelashes, my eyebrows. And I was with these supermodels who were so gorgeous, and they felt so badly about themselves. And I realized a question that I asked in the book is, if beautiful women don't feel beautiful, what's it all about? We all carry a beauty wound, and that is the part of ourselves we don't see as beautiful. And I feel like part of my journey, all the experiences I've had, are to be able to articulate that awareness and then give women solutions so that we can heal our bodies, we can heal that beauty wound, we can own our authentic beauty, find our voice, and then do what it is we're here to do, just like you're doing.
So do you think that, I think this, but do you think, and because I'm not a professional in the wellness industry, but do you think that that when it comes to how people view wellness, it's similar to being, it's always a lifetime of change and working and growing and developing, like as if you were an alcoholic or
Yes.
a drug user, because it's something that you're going to be having a challenge with for a lifetime. So it's something people should always be working on.
Because there's always new challenges, and we're always growing. We're always lifting ourselves, especially us entrepreneurs, right? We're always coming into the next piece. If we're mothers, we're working on the challenge of mothering little children and then mothering grown children. We're in relationships, whether it's to a partner or to our clients, to the world. I'm constantly growing. I feel like I'm a student of life. I don't have all the answers. I'm always learning, and I'm sharing every step of the way as transparently as I can.
I'm glad you had said something about, I'm working with all these like models and supermodels, and because how the media portrays people on television and entertainment, yes, and what we really see and what might be happening underneath. And I'm sure myself included, many, because of how media portrays and how happy all these celebrities and how beautiful they are, yes, how it really makes it difficult for us on the outside, especially our younger growing generation, to see, yep, to see what reality is really like, because you're always trying to look a certain way, be a certain way, and women be beautiful, thin, a great mother, a great provider, right, and physically beautiful on the outside, and hopefully never age. Like I'm finally letting my grays go. What can you share with those who are, and bringing up daughters and, yes, young mothers and beginning, that will help them with that struggle and direct them, and maybe some of the products or something in your book that they can look at, sure, and if get any specific book that might directly relate to some of their experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, I've had many mothers and daughters go through my courses together, the Happy Gut Cleanse. I've had mothers and teenage daughters, because my courses and my program is totally safe for children and teens. There's nothing, because I don't believe in diets. They don't work. Patricia Bragg, one of my heroes and mentors, such a huge influence in my life, has never dieted a day in her life, does not believe in it. And diets don't work because
I agree.
Yeah. And it's not about willpower. The only thing that makes choosing healthy food, healthy lifestyle, healthy practices consistent is self-love and self-acceptance. That's all that it's about. And so what I believe that my products do, my protein powders, which all of a sudden you've got on-the-go nutrition that's delicious, that you can throw in the back of your car, so that if you're walking by a donut shop and you've already had a protein drink, it makes it easier because you're satiated and you're full. I've got the Happy Gut Cleanse so that your tummy feels good and that your body feels good and that you've got energy. And I have a daughter as well, And I also was very concerned about them, about them being influenced by the media and by all the things that I struggled with and the demons that I struggled with and that I didn't even know I had and discovered inside myself. And so I've always been very honest with my daughter about my journey. But one of the things I learned is that I knew that I needed to love myself authentically if I wanted my daughter to love herself, because my mom never said, "Oh, Julia, you're ugly. You're not attractive." But I didn't feel attractive. And I realized that what the message I got is because she didn't feel attractive. So it really had nothing to do with how she felt about me. What I did is I just kind of sucked it in. That's what our kids do, right? So what I realized I needed to do is to fall in love with my body so my daughter would fall in love with hers.
Oh my God. Wow.
That is one of my greatest inspirations for my healing process.
Well, you shared something so deep right there, because let me tell you, and I know people right now, because I just connected with that, is that it's not always what you say and don't say, it's what you see that makes you feel. And so for us mothers and daughters and grandmothers, and I get that, because, my mother didn't say anything, but it was her actions. And that it took me many years until my 40s to learn how to say no and be okay with me and stop dieting and going to the gym. And because I wasn't happy with myself, it took years of therapy. So what do you, and I still go to therapy, I'm not embarrassed to say it, but for people
Me too. I'm a huge proponent of therapy.
Well, that going into it, just aside from, sometimes people think, okay, I will just take a healthy substance or a substance that they might think that'll help them. But then they forget the other side of the therapy, the mental wellness, or I'll just do that and that's going to fix everything else. So if you can kind of explain, sometimes, it's both, and how
it is both. Together. It is both. And both, all of the programs, my 21-day detox, the program in Revolutionary Beauty, we talk a lot about the mind-body piece. In fact, that is the very first thing that we talk about, is we actually talk about solutions for handling stress and healing trauma. Because if we don't deal with those pieces, then we're not going to be able to implement the building blocks. Right. And we're not going to be able to share them consistently with the people we love, because we're not going to be able to live them. And so in Revolutionary Beauty, it's not just a bright and shiny, tiptoe through the tulips kind of experience, because that wasn't my experience. The people that I work with, they've had everything happen to them under the sun that you can imagine, that every kind of trauma, because that's what people deal with. And especially that's what women deal with. We deal with a lot of trauma, and that those pieces are really important to heal. And that what I'd love to share is that it's a lot easier to do it than you may think. So in my online courses, it may seem like, how can you really do that other than just one-on-one in therapy? It's pretty amazing that there are actually solutions. There's ways to learn how to reduce our stress, to reduce the stress that we actually hold inside our bodies. That is one of the main causes of illness and disease. And all of this stuff gets in the way of our natural level of joy, energy, enthusiasm, and ability to, do everything that we dream of. And that's, I'm always encouraging all of us to do everything we dream of. We just have to build a foundation first.
Now in Revolutionary Beauty, did you collaborate with other women and other people in similar circumstances, where I think that means we can all find a story that we can relate to, or a situation?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. My Revolutionary Beauty, it's an homage to Patricia Bragg and all those teachings that are really the foundation of everything we know about health and wellness today. I mean, Paul Bragg started the first health food store in America. He talked Rachel Carlson into writing Silent Spring. He understood what was happening with farming and chemicals. He understood how important organics were. He understood the importance of healthy, natural food, and creating a simple program called the Bragg Healthy Lifestyle. And that's the backbone for my programs. And Patricia, Patricia's teachings and her sass and her spunk. Talk about an entrepreneur. She took the Bragg Life Foods product line that Paul had begun, and she built it into a multi-million-dollar industry through her sheer passion and belief that everyone deserves to be happy and healthy. And she's unstoppable. She's almost 92 years old. She's just an unstoppable being of light. Before inspirational, motivational speakers existed, there was Patricia Bragg. She kind of invented cross-marketing because she put all of her teachings on the back of her products, in her books. Her books marketed her products. These people just started it all. And I really wanted the world to kind of understand where all of the rest of us, that we started on their shoulders. And
Right.
So, as entrepreneurs, it's really important that and Patricia always understood that the foundation of entrepreneurship is having a healthy, happy body that just does not let you down.
I'm glad you talked about the food part of it, because how do I say that? What did I say? There's vegan living, and then healthy food, and then the right foods. And so people, when you think of vegan, you think of, no fun eating. But I've learned there's a difference between healthy eating and living and being a vegan. It's like,
yes, and I'm not a vegan. Yeah, and I'm not a vegan, and the Bragg Healthy Lifestyle is not a vegan lifestyle. Patricia has been primarily vegetarian in her life, but what Paul Bragg and Patricia Bragg all talked about, and what Paul always wrote, is quality is the most important. So quality is the most important. I personally, I healed on a vegan diet. It was really mostly juices, because most vegan foods I couldn't digest. They were just too difficult to assimilate. And I find that to be very true with my clients as well. So I'm a big proponent of juices, but a lot of raw foods can be really difficult to digest.
Yeah.
And so what I believe is whatever foods work for you is what's important. And I also feel what's really important, and especially for women, is that we get enough digestible protein. Most people are protein starved. For me, that meant because I'd always had compromised digestion, and I wasn't able to assimilate. Nuts and seeds are really hard to digest, and beans are impossible for me to digest, and for lots of my clients. So high quality animal proteins really serve me. Wild caught fish, and I have a wide variety of animal proteins that I use, along with, organic vegetables. But, if people feel wonderful and get enough assimilable protein and they're vegan, fabulous. I think it's been very humbling in my life. When I was healing, I thought that I would be vegan forever, because in the beginning, it made me feel so fantastic, but I discovered I wasn't able to get enough nutrients out of that for my body. And so I had to give up my attachment to being seen as a vegan, and I had to just say, okay, what's going to really work in my body? And I ask that question to my clients all the time. Are you sure this is working? And are you willing to expand your mind, to wrap your arms around what is really going to work for you? And it's a constant changing thing. I ate differently when I was pregnant than I do now. I ate different when I was nursing. And as I said, I'm 66, so I eat a little differently now. Lots and lots of protein drinks, lots of juices, probably less solid food. I'm super busy. Lots of liquids. Stay hydrated. That's my program, because people are always wondering what it is I do. I drink 8 ounces of wheatgrass juice every day. That's my Tesla charger. That's how I get energized, and it's how I detox. But I'm very I'm very open and I'm very non-judgmental about diet forms as long as it's working.
I know for me, it took me a long time to understand, because I was one of those dieting people and thought I was eating healthy. But then I learned from a biologist where I was going and getting my colonics done. It's about eating the right food for you that fits your body. And
That's
so,
right.
and I went on that no meat and all this other stuff. And she goes, well, you don't know what food is good for you and your blood type. So I remember she said, go take an allergy test, see what you're allergic to, see what's good for you. And it was, like you said, you have to open your mind to something different. And then when I realized what were my favorite foods in life that I thought weren't affecting me were the ones that were affecting me and even causing some depression, which, I have
Yes.
a Asian background, my mother's Filipino. So I can eat rice every day and be happy with it. And
Yes.
for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus some other things and bread. And they said, well, that is what your problem, that's what's not good for you, which was very difficult, that transition.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you were saying, it's really what makes you feel good, but it was also causing me bloating. And I remember I had to go on that. They said, I just want you to fast and for 3 days. And then I want you to go eating some of the things and write down how your body, reacts. I thought, oh my God, just my favorite food was horrible. So
Yeah, that's super common. And wheat, oh my gosh, everybody, American wheat is poison because it's most of it was treated by Roundup, which we know causes cancer. But
yeah,
what we know immediately is it causes gas, bloating, inflammation, and it makes it impossible to lose weight. So one of the things that people can really do a lot of healing from is to eliminate wheat and use if you do well on grain. I actually don't have grains in my diet. That's just what my body really does better without them. And grains are relatively new to human evolution, so many of us discover that we feel better, more energy without them. But there's so many great gluten-free grains. I just had a client send me a picture of a loaf of bread they made. Oh my God, it looks so delicious with cassava flour. And it was crunchy and it had, gorgeous organic butter on top. It looked so inviting. And she said, this makes me feel great. No gas, no bloating, no inflammation. So there's a lot nowadays, there's so many choices for eating gluten-free.
and it's like you just confirmed it, because I was I remember the same biologist was like, why are you eating like a cow? And I thought she was being like, what are you, like, I thought it was offensive. She goes, no. She goes, how do you think they fatten up these animals?
Right.
She goes, and with the digestive and certain foods, like cooking my vegetables and things like that. And she's like,
That's right.
so I'm glad you said that, because
Yes, absolutely. Digestible, it's really, really important. It's one of the things we talk about on my online classes all the time, because somebody will say, oh, I can eat lots and lots of salads. Another person cannot eat that much raw food. I mean, I don't eat that much raw food. I do drink a lot of green juices, but speaking of, we're not cows. Cows have what, 7 stomachs? So we do not. And many people do not digest that much raw food. And food enzymes are really important, digestive enzymes. I created a really simple enzyme called enzyme energy, which is hydrochloric acid. It's the it's the food enzyme in our stomach that helps us break down protein. Because if any of you out there get tired after you're eating, if you want to take a nap, that means you don't have enough digestive enzymes. And most people do not. Stress just assimilates. It just demolishes digestive enzymes. And we're all stressed, even if it's good stress. So taking a digestive enzyme, for me, taking a digestive enzyme when I eat, when I first started doing that, it was just a game changer. And all of a sudden, I wasn't tired after I ate. I wasn't bloated. My energy was good. My mental state was clear after I ate. And the thing about digestive enzymes, most of the ones on the market are really complicated. There's 47 things in them. And so I created a really simple one so that anybody can use it. And it's great for digesting, like I said, especially protein.
Well, I know we are about to the end of the show. And so
Okay.
I'm not even joking. You gave so much information. And one of the things I love about, publicists and stuff I work with is they always seem to bring me people that are relevant to every time, now and tomorrow, not just what's happening right now. Like you can utilize the information from the guest all the time, like for a lifetime. So, but a lot of this is for me. I'm not going to say a lot of this education. So it's for me. So, so for everybody who has been listening on the podcast, who aren't able to see the live interview, I recommend you jump on over to the entrepreneurlifeshow.com website. You can see the full interview all the time, as well as connect with Julia. But if you were listening, just in case you missed it, she's going to tell you where you can find her, but you can always find her by going to the website and connect as well. We will always have it there. So if you don't mind, to make sure like all of your social media outlets, you can get the books, everything.
Absolutely. Here's a copy of my new book, Revolutionary Beauty. With gorgeous Patricia.
Wow.
Gorgeous Patricia. It's available for pre-order now. So jump on. And what I can tell you is if you pre-order now, I'm giving everybody who pre-orders a free bottle of my Happy Gut Cleanse.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So all you need to do that is you can actually go to my Instagram, which is Julia Loggins, or Patricia Bragg. We're both combined our social media forces on Instagram and Facebook. So Patricia Bragg or Julia Loggins on Instagram and Facebook, and patriciabraggbooks.com, julialoggins.com. All of my courses and materials are on julialoggins.com. And like I said, you'll get a free bottle of Happy Gut Cleanse because I wanted people, because if you pre-order the book, you actually won't get it until it launches February 1. So I wanted people to get something in their hands that they could give as a Christmas gift. So if you want to buy this book for your friend, for your sweetheart, for yourself, for your child, and now you'll have something to wrap and give as a holiday gift that says, here, you can start with this now. You can connect with Julia online, and then in February you're going to get Revolutionary Beauty.
That's pretty awesome, and hopefully like a signed copy would be great.
Yes.
Okay.
So super exciting. So julialoggins.com, patriciabraggbooks.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patricia Bragg, Julia Loggins.
Okay, everyone. So again, thank you to all of the faithful listeners, and especially to you listening on the podcast, because you are what has been growing my show and all the downloads. Make sure that you share. Go to the website, entrepreneurlifeshow.com. You will find all of the links to all the podcasts, all the lives, plus you'll get to watch the video for a lifetime. And until next Thursday, we will see you for our next guest. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.